Actually, Anand gave us lot many documentaries and showed the mirror to society as to what kind of world that we are living in. And state also has given probably greater tribute in challenging and blocking his films from screening to the public. And every film he had to go to the court, and through long battle it was released to the public. This has been an exception. Probably state did not understand it or got inured.
Many people, especially in the Dalit community, initially, before they had seen the film, objected to the title because many people in the Dalit community have been given see communism as their enemy. At least they don't want to be associated with that. They thought I was calling Dr. Ambedkar a communist. I think only after seeing the film they realized that this is not Jai Bhim. It's not a film to Ambedkar as such. It is more a film about Vilas Gogre and the convergence of these two systems of thought, where there's a lot of overlap, perhaps conscious overlap and perhaps an unconscious overlap, but overlap for the simple reason that if you're a communist, how can you mobilize along class without including the struggle for caste?
Jai Bhim. It's a very long film, and you sat through. Let me congratulate you. We were quite apprehending. I am actually associated with this filmmaking right from the raw footage Anand showed me. And we were toying with an idea whether this film would be understood, because not many people understand these dynamics in caste and class dynamics, let me say straight, because that is familiar to you. And we were toying with an idea of something like creating a small write-up, some couple of page write-up as to what this film tries to convey. But I was away. I was intermittently coming to Bombay and then sort of meeting and talking to Anand. I was in IIT Kharagpur, and then suddenly Anand said that it's screened. And I couldn't write that so-called explanation. But as it went, I was quite happy that people sat through this length, and they understood what is to be understood. I do not know whether they understood it fully, the nuances in it and the way it is structured and all that. But all the same, we felt that there was no need. Even it is shown in slums, he went across everywhere, it is shown in colleges, institutes, and everywhere. And people appreciated it. I saw it maybe 3-4 times now, more than that perhaps. As we could not make that explanation, etc., then I wrote a review of it, which actually is available on his website also, and it's on Countercurrent. The title is, you could simply get the review to read. The title is Jai Bhim Comrade, a soulful song for the nowhere people. Just I wanted to sort of read out just a few lines of it. The code of Manu had fenced off Dalits to their ghettoized existence for millennia. The code of modernity in India is doing the same or worse in numerous sophisticated ways. Leave apart the caste-ridden society, sadly, even the most radical of the Indian communists are not the exception. And the state, wearing the facade of egalitarian constitutionalism, is the vilest of all in pushing them into their caste confinement. When a Dalit discards sectarian caste politics and sees his emancipation along with all oppressed through class struggle, he suffers exclusion among Dalits as a Marxist, in the left as an Ambedkarite, and repression from the state as a Naxalite. In the and all together, he is thus pushed back to his caste cocoon where he belonged by birth. This cruel and complex reality of the contemporary Dalit existence is brilliantly brought forth by Anand Patwardhan in Jai Bhim Comrade through an innocuous and unlikely medium of songs and music. So this is the kind of thing. I Vilas Ghogre and all those characters, you see that I'm personally associated with. Uh, so it's I can publicly thank Anand for immortalizing the public hero Vilas Ghogre. Otherwise, from 97 that he committed suicide, by now people get forgotten, and not from such kind of strata that people care to remember what they did. Actually, if I do not know how many people understand Marathi, but Vilas had such a kind of grip on Marathi. Marathi meaning not a literary Marathi, but the kind of thing, the words that he used would strike your heart, that kind of Marathi. And people would really relate with. I used to be amazed because not many people know that he was just, he was little illiterate. He was peon in a school in Mulund. And of course, you saw the house and all. He lived like that. Initially, he spent his time in Ambedkarite, Kawali, course, etc. But thereafter, he was attracted. All this is shown in film. But the kind of words that he used to write, there is one thing like Jartoy Marathwada, that song you have seen. But then he has written in a song on Maharashtra. I also have lost that. Probably Anand has, I will have to ask him. The kind of thing that he wrote on Maharashtra, probably not a great poet that we actually learnt in schools and colleges could write. Nobody could write that kind of Marathi. So he was such a talented person. Anyway, it's very it's already late, and let me get on to asking Anand, and that I know the answers, but let him say. Let him say. This title itself, Jai Bhim Comrade. Such an hyphenated. He has not given hyphen there, but it's something like an oxymoron, urban Naxal. Yeah. So, how did he actually come to know? Let's hear from him publicly.
So, actually, in fact, many people, especially in the Dalit community, initially, before they had seen the film, objected to the title because many people in the Dalit community have been given see communism as their enemy. At least they don't want to be associated with that. They don't want. They thought I was calling Dr. Ambedkar a communist, or meaning there was mixing up two different ideologies, and it's only, I think, only after seeing the film they realized that this is not Jai Bhim. It's not a film to Ambedkar as such. It is more a film about Vilas Ghogre and the convergence of these two systems of thought where there's a lot of overlap, perhaps conscious overlap and perhaps an unconscious overlap, but overlap for the simple reason that if you're a communist, how can you mobilize along class without including the struggle for caste? Because there's no way of doing that. I mean, if you're trying to reach the poorest of the poor, then you're obviously talking about caste as well as class. So, and I don't know if people know, you know that, but everybody doesn't know. But there is a section of the Dalit community that has become a completely separatist. They follow a separatist line in which they object to even this film. They object even after seeing the film. They can't really pinpoint what they don't like about it, but the main thing they don't like about it is that it's made by a Brahmin. One thing that they don't like. Yeah. So they have, if you have that completely separatist mentality, you can't cross that line. And you have to be suspicious, which, yeah, I can understand that there's good reason to be suspicious about people who try to appropriate other people's condition in order to profit from it in some way. So there's a section that has that attitude, a small section. It's certainly not the section that I come across on an everyday basis, because we've shown the film in hundreds of Dalit bastis and it was loved everywhere.
Actually, Anand gave us lot many documentaries and showed the mirror to society as to what kind of world that we are living in. And state also has given probably greater tribute in challenging and blocking his films from screening to the public. And every film he had to go to the court, and through long battle it was released to the public. This has been an exception. Probably state did not understand it or got inured.
Actually, there's a funny story about that.
Yeah.
We were lucky, even though up to this point, most of the time that I've been making film, the Congress has been in power. So when I criticize the state, I'm criticizing Congress by, quite explicitly. But I have to admit that Congress was in power and the censor board at the time was headed by somebody called Leela Sampson, who was you might know who she was. She is a great dance person who saw the film and she fought for it to get through without any cuts. So, and it was given a U certificate. So I have to thank her and her team that this is one of the exceptions where I didn't have to fight the censor board. But I did have to fight with the usual second round of fight that I have is with Doordarshan, with getting the film on TV. So in the past, when the film got a national award, and this also got a national award, but we tried to get it to Doordarshan. They kept fighting. Finally, they actually got under pressure because I had won so many cases against them. So they finally acquired the film. They paid me for it. But just then was when Modi came to power, 2014. This film is 2011. By the time we went through the system to get to Doordarshan, it was already 2014. Modi came to power. And Doordarshan, though they had bought the film, refused to show it. So now we are fighting a court case against Doordarshan for not showing a film that they bought, for wasting public money, and because I didn't make the film to make money, and so if they paid me, it doesn't make any difference. I mean, it makes some difference, but it's not the main point. I wanted the public to see the film, and they denied me that right. So we're fighting on the basis of the public's right to information, and this film has to be shown. So that fight is still going on. That's been going on now for more than 10 years.
Yeah, why I raised this question, because compared to all earlier films, probably it is not understood that the subject matter that is handled in this film is more explosive than otherwise. And that's what actually we wanted to explain also. Because caste and class, the dichotomy, unfortunate dichotomy, actually held the key for Indian revolution. Somewhere I wrote, and I have been writing in that tone ever through. It's very unfortunate. You have to go into long history to understand that, and how this thing got those two kinds of streams. One is something like organic proletariat, and the other way around is something like a Marxian proletariat. Why these two streams diverged and went on diverging to such an extent that people think they're sort of at loggerheads. That is today think that communists or Marxists, etc., cannot be touched by even a bamboo pole, and they can be easily go into the laps of BJP Shiv Sena, whom sort of you have seen in the film, so I don't have to repeat that. So this is a very, very unfortunate kind of thing that has happened to this country. So that needed to be explained out. Now, of course, lots of water has flown down the Ganges. The Ganges itself is a lot of polluted. So we need not come to that. I would rather cut it short.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Anand and Anand. That was wonderful. Thank you guys for being such a wonderful audience. And we hope to see you tomorrow. Thank you so much for being here.